If you're just starting out with Pro Tools, you're in the right place. Today, I'll walk you through the basics of the interface so you can get comfortable navigating the software and start working on your audio project. My name is Ian Dutra from ID Sound. If you need help with your project, check out my portfolio and send me an email. I'd love to work with you. When you first open Pro Tools, you'll land on the dashboard. This is where you either create a new session or open an existing one. Start by naming your project. Make sure it's something that makes sense to you. I usually write the artist name and song name. Decide where you want to store your session on your computer. It's best to have a folder with your studio projects and a folder within for each artist you work with, including your own artist name. You can also choose Prompt for Location to choose after hitting Create. I like this option because it doesn't change the default location and it prompts me to change it for each project, which is easier to keep track of. When it comes to sample rate and bit depth, the default settings, 44.1 kHz and 24-bit, are typically fine for most projects, unless you have specific requirements. I usually work with 48 kHz and 32-bit float for maximum fidelity and better compatibility with the film industry. For the I/O settings, you'll usually go with stereo mix, unless you're setting up a custom I/O configuration, such as for a console or other external hardware. Once you hit Create, Pro Tools will prompt for location if that's selected. Once you have selected your location, Pro Tools will open the Edit window. Pro Tools has two primary windows, the Edit window and the Mix window. These are where you'll spend most of your time, each serving a different function. The Edit window is your timeline and workspace for recording and editing. It's where you'll see the individual audio and MIDI tracks. It's the place to arrange your clips, trim them, and perform most of your editing tasks. If you're familiar with mixing consoles, the Mix window will make a lot of sense to you. This is where you'll adjust levels, pan tracks left or right, and apply effects. It's also where you'll manage sends and inputs and outputs for each track. To toggle between these windows, press Command equals on Mac or Control equals on Windows. Nice and simple. Next up, let's talk about the transport bar, found at the top of the screen on the Edit window. This is your control center for playback and recording. The play button starts playback from where the playhead is positioned. The shortcut is spacebar. Stop stops it. Shortcut is also spacebar. Record prepares Pro Tools to record. Hit this before you hit play to record your track. You can also press Command Space, F12, or Numpad 3 to start recording without hitting play. Return to 0 takes the playhead back to the beginning of the session. The shortcut is Return on Mac and Enter on Windows. Rewind and Fast Forward moves you back or forward in the timeline quickly. The shortcut is Shift, and Shift period. You can use the tempo and meter controls to set the BPM and time signature of your session. Really important if you're working with music. There are several track types in Pro Tools, each designed for different tasks. You can create new tracks by going to the Tracks menu and select the option labeled as New. The shortcut on Mac is Shift-Command-N, and on Windows is Shift-Control-N. Audio tracks are where you'll record or import your audio, whether it's vocals, instruments, or sound effects. MIDI tracks are useful if you're using a MIDI controller and a hardware MIDI instrument. This is where you'll record your MIDI data. Instrument tracks combine a MIDI track with an auxiliary track, making it easier to record and control virtual instruments. An auxiliary track is used to route audio, like if you want to apply the same effect to multiple tracks at once, like reverb. This can be done in series with your input and output configuration, or in parallel with a bus send. The master fader controls the overall volume of your session, including all tracks combined. You may also apply effects to the whole mix on this track. Now let's look at the Edit tools. These are located just above the track headers, and they let you manipulate your audio and MIDI clips. Use the Zoomer tool to zoom in or out to get a closer look at your timeline or to see more of it at once. The Trimmer trims the beginning or end of a clip. The Selector allows you to place a specific selection of a clip or a region in the timeline. The Grabber moves your clips around. The Scrubber lets you sweep through audio to listen to it at different speeds so you can find the exact spot you want. The Pencil tool allows you to draw in automation like volume or pan changes, or MIDI notes. The shortcuts for switching amongst these tools is F5 through 10 or Command 1 through 7 on Mac, or Control 1 through 7 on Windows. You can also use the Smart tool. This automatically switches between the Select, Trim, and Grabber tools. Hovering over the edges gives you the trimmer, above the middle of the clip is the selector, below the middle is the grabber, and the top corners create fades. Pro Tools offers 4 different edit modes, each designed to give you more control over how your clips behave when you're editing. Depending on what you're trying to do, these modes let you manipulate your clips in different ways, making your workflow more efficient. In Shuffle mode, when you move, delete, or cut a clip, the remaining clips automatically shift to fill any gaps. For example, if you delete a clip, the following clips will shift left to fill that spot, keeping everything aligned. In Slip mode, clips can move freely, so you have full control over their placement. This is useful when you're fine-tuning things and need more precision. Grid mode lets you snap your clips to a specific time grid, like bars and beats. This is especially helpful if you're working on music and need everything perfectly aligned. Spot mode is used mainly for film audio editing. You can click and enter a specific time location to place a clip exactly where you want it. You can switch between these modes quickly using the shortcuts F1 through 4 or Option on Mac, Alt on Windows 1 through 4. Each mode has its purpose, and switching between them will help make your editing more efficient depending on what you're trying to do. Next, let's talk about zoom controls. Zooming in or out of your timeline is essential when you're working in Pro Tools, especially when you need to fine-tune your edits or see more of your session at once. You can zoom in or out horizontally, left and right, on the timeline to get a better view of your session. You may also use R and T to do this. Audio or MIDI zoom in allows you to amplify that waveform or the MIDI notes vertically to visually locate specific sounds. Zoom toggle adjusts the zoom to fit your selection to the entire screen, quickly showing you exactly what you need to see. The shortcut for this is E. Zoom presets quickly recall a horizontal zoom setting. You may replace a zoom preset with your current zoom level by command-clicking a preset number on Mac or control-clicking a preset number on Windows. Getting comfortable with zooming in and out quickly will make your editing workflow a lot smoother. If you're working with MIDI in Pro Tools, the MIDI editor window can be very useful. It's a specialized view that makes it easier to see and edit your MIDI notes in a piano roll format. To open it within the edit window, double-click a MIDI clip with the Grabber tool, or go to Window MIDI Editor to open it as its own window. You can also use Control equals on Mac or Windows key equals on Windows. This window will pop up, showing your MIDI data in a clear grid, with notes represented as horizontal bars. Placed vertically on the left side is a piano roll, which represents the musical notes. This is your visual reference for note pitch. In order to edit notes, you can click and drag them to change their pitch or length, and even add new ones by clicking within the grid. If the MIDI automation display is on, below each note, you'll see velocity information, which corresponds to how hard or soft the note is played. You can adjust this by dragging the velocity bar up or down, or by holding Command on Mac or Control on Windows and dragging up or down on the note itself. You can also click the Lane View selector to access other types of MIDI automation, such as sustain, expression, or mod wheel. If you want to quickly correct timing, the quantize function is available to snap your notes to the nearest beat or grid point. Make sure to check it over, as some notes may be too far from their intended timing and end up on the next or previous grid point. The MIDI editor is perfect when you need to fine-tune your virtual instruments or any MIDI sequences, giving you total control over the performance. On the left side of each track in the edit window, you've got the track header. This is where you'll find basic controls for each track. Double-click on the track name to rename your track, keeping your session organized by naming tracks based on their content. The Record Enable button arms the track for recording. The solo mutes all other tracks so you can focus on just the one track. Mute silences the track. And the Track View selector changes what information about the track is displayed, from waveform to volume automation to pan and a lot of other things. And that's a wrap on a quick tour of the Pro Tools layout. Hopefully this makes it easier for you to navigate the software and focus more on creating. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below.